Good morning. It's so good to be back with you guys again. I've taken a little time off. We are in such a difficult and challenging time as we all are separated from our families and our friends, but I have no doubt we'll get through it. Several weeks ago, I did a little chat on pain, and one of the things I recognized is pain's purpose is awareness. If you're not aware that something is wrong, then there could be even more of a problem. But one thing for sure, no one is excluded from a period of pain. Emotional pain can cause suffering, humiliation, secrets, and indignity. And the reflection looking back in the mirror can be debilitating because you ask yourself questions like, how could I allow that to happen to me? Or how did I become the definition of the abuse perpetrated against me? I find that pain and triggers, it is the indignity that creates vulnerability, resulting in a trigger. So what are triggers? Triggers are those things that remind us of painful events in our lives. A trigger can be an adversity or a challenge, and it can be an event which relates to a similar humiliating situation, altercation, fear, rejection, or abandonment. Although triggers are present in each of our lives, the question is, how do you handle them? How do you handle avoiding more scarring and damage to your heart? According to Dr. Stephen Covey, when a stimulus is presented like a conflicting or chaotic situation, there is a gap before you respond. But the way you respond or you think about it can determine the consequences, be it negative or positive. So careful thought is necessary if the response is to be positive. If not, you can have a negative response, but a peaceful solution would be a positive response. Anger, rage, feeling sorry for yourself, anger, vengeance, things like that, or sadness can be a negative consequence. A few years ago, and no doubt you guys have read this, I read a short story by an unknown author. And the grandmother was trying to help her granddaughter through a very difficult, challenging time. And so this is what she said. I'd like to look at it this way. She said, here's a carrot, okay? Here's an egg, and here's coffee. Now, here's water. In my illustration, the water represents a trigger because a trigger is something that can change the state of something. So my question is this: are you like a carrot? If you are, that means you're resilient and you're crisp, like that. But if not, when you're presented with boiling water, which changes the crispness and the resilience of the carrot, this is how you become: weak, limp, like that, okay? But guess what? The water remains the same. It's the same. Okay. What about an egg? Here's an egg, okay? If I break this egg, it has a very fragile shell, but the inside is like that. So what does that tell you? That tells you that you may be fragile on the outside, but that shell is still there to protect you from a trigger, which is water. What happens if I boil it though? If I boil it and crack it, it isn't like that anymore. And I just boiled this so it's hot on my hands. But what happens? It is no longer that way. So if I look at it, this is now the inside. So it's totally different from this one. That means now your heart has become hardened. The white of the egg is hard. It's not as pliable as it was when it was over here. However, when you look at coffee, this is the coffee grounds, okay? And when you smell it, they're aromatic and they're pleasant to be around. But guess what? If you put it in boiling water, the grounds begin to emit aromas that signal to coffee drinkers like me that something good is about to happen to the taste buds, and it gives us that energy that we need to get going in the morning. But interestingly, when the coffee grounds hit boiling water, guess what happens? The water doesn't remain like this. It changes. So now what's happening, which is a trigger, the coffee grounds is doing what? It's changing the situation. So you may ask yourself, okay, here I am. I have a trigger. And just like coffee, I can change the mood and change my attitude, or I can allow the water to change me. You may become moist. This is coffee that I did this morning, and it's very moist. So you can become moist with tears. You know, you can have some problems that is very difficult for you to handle. But what do you do in despair? Do you stay strong, resilient, and resolute? Or do you become weak, like the carrot? Do you become nice and soft on the inside with the heart that can change and that can forgive people? Or do you become solid like this? What happens? Are you like coffee? Do you keep it the same, or do you change and make something that is pleasant? You become a pleasant person to be around. Your personality, people want to interface with you. So the question is this: triggers can be difficult, but guess what? It's all in how you handle it. The indignity of pain is difficult and it hurts. I know it. I've been betrayed and I have triggers. But at the same time, you have to recognize that you're stronger than the trigger, and it is up to you to make the change. Have a blessed Thanksgiving. I hope you guys do well, and I pray that we will see each other again soon. God bless.